Hey, Jeff Currier here. I'm going to talk to you about trout destinations. I'm actually out here doing a little trout fishing here in Montana. Got to fish on Quake Lake one day and the Henry's Fork the other. However, it's not very good for me in the dead of winter, and that's when I want to go somewhere warm and fish for trout, meaning somewhere down in the southern hemisphere. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the differences between Patagonia, which would be Argentina and Chile, versus somewhere like New Zealand, which I'll just tell you right now is one of my favorite places in the world to trout fish. But why would you go to these places? Well, I kind of mentioned that already. It's a great way to escape winter. When it is winter here, when we're skiing, it's summer down south. If you get off the plane in New Zealand or Argentina or Chile, any part of Patagonia, the days are longer and the birds are chirping. It's just a really wonderful thing. But they're also amazing places to trout fish. I mean, a lot of people will compare Patagonia to what Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming was, 50, 60 years ago. So it's going back a little bit in time, less crowds, more water to fish, and a beautiful, beautiful place. New Zealand, as far as the weather and everything, it's very similar. It's summer in New Zealand when it's winter in the United States. I like to go to these places because it keeps my trout fishing skills going. And I like the challenges that some of these places offer too, because they offer some bigger fish in general than what we might get in places in the US. So how would I pack for, Patagonia versus New Zealand? Usually in New Zealand, my rain jacket is on the top of my pack because it is a very wet climate. You often start your day in the rain and you end your day in the rain. Having the gear to stay dry is essential. Does the rod vary? Does the flies vary? Yeah, a little bit. I would have to say in general, the trout are bigger in New Zealand. So I'm almost always using a 6 weight or a 7 weight, probably a 6, because I can handle a 6 with a big fish. Whereas when I'm in Patagonia, I'm going to be using a 5 weight, using a 6 weight or a 7 weight. There are places like the sea run brown trout in the southern parts of Patagonia. Those fish are huge, and then you're going to be fishing a 7 to a 9 weight. But in general, rod reel lines can be about the same. And flies, this is where I kind of bore people because people love flies. They love to bring too many flies. Again, a trout's a trout. So for me, I like royal wolves, I like parachute Adams, I like, a prince nymph, a hare's ear nymph, maybe some double bunny streamers and kiwi mothers or some form of muddler. But I will say in New Zealand, it's very important that the first cast, you make it count, and because those fish aren't selective until after that. So I like a size 10 royal wolf in New Zealand or a size 10 gray wolf as my number one fly. One of the benefits of traveling to either of these places, whether it's Patagonia or New Zealand, if you're a trout fisherman here in the US, you already have the stuff. You already have the rod, the reel, the lines, and the flies. Because no matter where you go, a trout's a trout. I mean, brown trout rainbows, which is what you're gonna find in these places for the most part, they eat the same thing. So bring your royal wolves, bring your parachute Adams, bring your prince nymphs and your muddler minnow type stuff. And expect it to work. I love fishing in New Zealand because of the weather, the big fish. There are more challenges in New Zealand because of the big fish and there's less fish hard to catch. We'll kind of get to that. But New Zealand is English speaking also. So you get off the plane and these people, they speak the same language you do. They have a wonderful accent. You're going to fall in love with that right away. And as far as the culture goes, New Zealand is kind of, more English. So you're going to have, the best fish and chips you maybe ever had in your life at every place you stop. There's opportunity to get that. And I love that. And you're going to have some of the best lamb dinners you ever had. I mean, this is, there's sheep farms everywhere. It's just incredible. And it's a beautiful place, huge mountains. It's an island nation. It's very tropical here. I love it. And you can rent a car, you can drive around, you get lost, you walk into a store and get directions. The people are incredibly friendly as well. So Patagonia, that has a draw for me because now I'm in a different country. I mean, yeah, New Zealand's a different country, but they do speak English. I can rent a car. Everything's kind of the same. When you're out on your own, not with the people, it seems like you could be very well at home in Montana on a rainy day or something. Whereas Patagonia, this is a Spanish-speaking country. It's, you can't as easily pull over and get a set of directions if you're lost. You can't walk into, a local bar and say, hey, where should I go fishing today? Did anybody help me out? We're kind of looking for a place of that, unless you speak good Spanish. And that's the kind of challenges that I love. You know, that tells me, hey, I'm in a foreign country. This is a special situation. I really like that. As far as the people go, I would say the people in Patagonia are wonderful. I mean, they actually really enjoy to have visitors. There's so much water down there. You know, you'll be welcomed with open arms, and definitely enjoy the food. We're talking some of the best steaks you'll ever run into in your entire life. And I don't care how good a steak you've had in the U.S. Some of their steak places are absolutely incredible. So when do you go to Patagonia or New Zealand? So for me, the times would be late October as the earliest in their season. When I say their season, that's their spring. And then all the way till, you know, the end of April. And always keep in touch with seasons. Like we have trout seasons here in North America. There are trout seasons in both New Zealand and Patagonia. I've been to New Zealand as early as November. Expect a little more rain that time of year. I've been blown out. That's the biggest problem going to New Zealand. You could go all the way there for a 10-day trip, and all of a sudden, you know, 6 of those days you have such bad rain that you're very limited to just a few fisheries. They have a few tailwaters, which is not why you go to New Zealand, but you may have to fish that because it's the only clear water, or you may have to go to a lake, which, by the way, I will tell you a little tip here. The lakes in New Zealand, if you have a guide that's willing to take you to a lake because they know it, go. I know Americans aren't big on the lakes, but man, you get some unbelievable fish and sometimes amazing dry fly on these lakes. If you really want to try to get a little better guarantee on good weather going to New Zealand, go after the new year. So typically the hardest summer is when we kind of get dry here in the US. It's the same in New Zealand. So if you went in January, February, or March, the rivers are typically a little lower than they are early season, and you're more likely to avoid a blowout from a big rain or so. But that being said, you know, if November is the only chance you get to go and you get to go, do it. New Zealand's an amazing place from November through April. Argentina, very similar to the US. You know, if you go too early in the season, they have huge mountains there. They get packed with snow in the wintertime. You're going to have some high water conditions. Like if you came to fish Yellowstone right when it opened in May, you may only be able to fish the fire hole because Madison will be too high and off color. Maybe the Gibbon will be high and off color. Same with Montana rivers or Idaho rivers. So keep that in mind. Yes, you could go to Argentina and fish in November and December, but that's their early season. You might be a little limited. And again, like I mentioned before, there are lakes. You know, Americans don't like to fish lakes too much, but there are some great lakes down in Patagonia. If you really want to make sure you have good weather and good fishing, you know, you have to get out of winter because you need some summer, head to Patagonia in January or February or March. And keep in mind, March, now you're getting into their fall, which is really beautiful. I think everybody loves the fall here in the U.S. That's a great time to go to Patagonia. So how do you get to Patagonia? How do you get to New Zealand? Are they easy to get to? Well, I don't think easy is a word for either of these destinations because you have to do a long flight. I mean, you don't have to cross an ocean to go to Patagonia, but you have to head south a heck of a long way. We're talking a 9 to 11 hour flight, depending on where you leave. Is it easy though, in a sense of, you know, is there travel problems and, you know, delays and all that? Leaving the U.S., not usually. We have like 5 to 10 cities here in the U.S. that will fly you directly from this American city down to Buenos Aires or down to Santiago, Chile. So, and I'm a guy that doesn't mind a long flight. You know, I know how to make a long flight. 2 glasses of wine and, you know, a dinner on the plane and I'm there. So I think it's pretty easy. And then usually once you get to Santiago or you get to, you know, Buenos Aires, then you're going to have to take another internal flight, but it's well organized. I mean, people do these trips often, so you get off the plane after your international flight, usually 3 hours to do customs and poke around the airport, stretch your legs, and then a simple 2-hour flight gets you into most parts of Patagonia. New Zealand's the same thing. I mean, you're probably going to have to get yourself to the West Coast, whether it's Los Angeles or San Francisco, probably going to be Los Angeles, and then you have a long flight. And it is a little longer than going to Patagonia. Usually, I believe the New Zealand flights are about 14 and a half hours, which everybody's like, whoa, that just sounds awful. My advice, I'll give you a little flight advice, stay awake the first 4 hours. You know, do some reading, watch some movies, enjoy your dinner, a glass of wine, and try to sleep, you know, long enough so that you don't wake up till you're 3 or 4 hours out of Auckland. But it's a long trip, but it's well worth it. And when you get to Auckland, you're probably gonna have another jumping point, maybe a short flight to the southern part of the South Island, or maybe you fly down to Nelson in the North Island. But neither is easy, but both well worth the travel. A lot of people will ask, is there skill level differences? I've been trout fishing 4 or 5 years. I'm getting better, but I like to catch fish. Oh boy, guess what? I'm glad you asked that question, because there is a serious difference between going to Patagonia or going to New Zealand. Patagonia is a lot like fishing out west, whether it's Wyoming, Idaho, or Montana. If you have a good day and the fish are on the dry flies, they're going to come up and crush your fly. Are there a lot of fish in Patagonia? Yes, there are. You can expect, similar situation to like maybe fishing, the Madison River where there's lots of fish, or the Henry's Fork, the lower part of the Henry's a lot of fish. Whereas New Zealand, guess what, guys? It's not quite that way. There are way fewer fish on most of the New Zealand rivers, but they're bigger. So first thing you decide, do I want to catch big fish or a lot of fish? And if it's a lot of fish, for goodness sakes, definitely go to Patagonia. If it's big fish you're after, then it's New Zealand, but guess what? You better have your skills in order. If you're new to fly fishing and you need to catch, half the fish you see or more, that's not the place to go. New Zealand fish are very difficult. I'll give you a little example of the way you fish New Zealand. You walk and you look and you find the fish. And there are times when you walk a long way and you're thinking, well, why don't you just get down there and blind cast? Because New Zealand fish are some of the spookiest trout on the planet. So you have to find them before they see you, which means not going up just, spraying the water with a big old humpy or something. You need to find the fish, then you need to sneak into position. Make sure you bring your camo clothing for this trip. I'll tell you need it, and make sure you have an olive line. But you need to get into position, and then you need to make a good cast. And I say it all the time, that first cast counts. You need to make a good cast on your first cast. So until you have some pretty good experience, until you can handle a few heartbreaks in trout fishing, go to Patagonia, and then someday go to New Zealand. I will just tell you my favorite is New Zealand. I like big fish, and I like the challenge that it offers.